just like the snow that's coming down in my area, the gaming news will not let up. Hello, everybody. Byron and Slade back at it with the gaming news today for this
That is
week.
right. We got quite a bit of not just announcements, but also some interesting insider info with some of the companies. So without further ado, let's get underway. Starting with the couple of delays. Suicide Squad was delayed.
Yes, that is right. Suicide Squad, thanks to Jason Schreier, has let us all know that Warner Brothers and Rocksteady have delayed Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League once again. And he notes that this delay moves Suicide Squad out of the crowded release window that includes Tears of the Kingdom, Diablo 4, and Final Fantasy 16, which that's a stacked fucking
That's a stacked
lineup.
window, and let's call it for what it is. It was also because Showcase last month was received very piss poorly.
So funny you say that, actually. Because Schreier notes, for what it's worth, a delay like this is mainly for polish, not to overhaul the core gameplay that caused the backlash. Suicide Squad started off as a games as a service and will remain one short of a complete reboot, which would require a much longer delay. Which, that could happen. It's very possible. I don't think so at this point.
I think, this game's gonna straight up flop. Like, I don't think, unless, like you said, a complete reboot, which they don't have the time to do that. They plan to release it this year. Long story short, this game's probably dead on arrival.
Yeah, and this game has been worked on for years, since Rocksteady finished off the incredible Arkham trilogy.
Yeah, which, again, is really unfortunate, but, at the same time, I'm kind of glad to see that this is the fate that one of these games as a service kind of games kind of meets.
Yeah, like,
I just feel like there isn't the market for new games of these types to come out anymore.
Yeah, with the exception of maybe that hot period of like a few months when Fall Guys was hot. Like, no games as a service game that is released during the pandemic and post-pandemic have gained the popularity like the games that released prior to the pandemic.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting phenomenon. And again, we covered more games as a service massacre like a month and a half ago at this point.
Yeah, which is great because those were games that are already out. Now we're seeing games that haven't even come out also get impacted by, the overall downturn of that type of game and the fact that monetarily people don't want to support those types of games. So fantastic news in my opinion.
Well, speaking of downturns, you could say, good old Todd Howard and Starfield. So this is going to be an Xbox heavy section. So first, let's just get the Starfield stuff out of the way. It was going to come out first half of 2023, according to that Xbox game showcase last year. That's not the case anymore. It's coming out September 6th, 2023, which I guess to go back to Schreier's tweet about Suicide Squad is kind of a good thing because it's getting out of that crowded, like, May, June time frame.
That's correct. The interesting thing about Starfield is this is actually the second time it's been quote-unquote delayed.
Yes.
The first time it was delayed was out of, I believe it was November 11th of last year.
Yeah, November 11th, 2022. They wanted that 11/11/22 release date, which that would be a pretty good release date, like, just numerically, but game wasn't...
Yeah, but they found out pretty quickly that they weren't going to meet that, release window, so...
Yeah.
They didn't announce exactly when it was going to release this year. They just said first half.
Yeah.
So, yes, technically it's a delay because it's released in September, which isn't first half.
Yeah.
But overall, this is one of those ones where you're happy to see the delay, especially if you know the history of Bethesda in general.
Yeah.
And for a lack of a better term, the lack of polish a lot of those games tend to have on release.
Yeah.
We charmingly refer to them as, they aren't, bugs their features
Yeah.
and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, this is actually really good news because I think for Microsoft specifically, not just Bethesda, I think they really need this game to knock it out of the park.
Oh,
Considering they haven't really had any, major first party success
yeah.
for the platform outside of, their, Game Pass model.
Well, yeah. They've had smaller successes. Pentiment was somewhat of a success. Hi-Fi Rush, critical darling, sold incredibly well on Steam. Probably got quite a few Game Pass subscribers, but like we're talking like Starfield. We're talking one of the big boys.
Yeah, and this is very important for Microsoft to hit out of the park because obviously Halo Infinite, horror story that was released that is pretty much incomplete, unplayable, pretty bad.
Yeah,
for the most part.
We've talked about that whole Halo thing in multiple different episodes.
Yeah, so I think they need Starfield to hit, the ground running day one.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an exaggeration. So them delaying it again, I only see it as good news.
Yeah.
But that does not mean a delay automatically is going to like make the game ready day one. I mean, like I said, Halo Infinite was delayed like multiple years twice.
Yeah.
And that still was nowhere near ready when it came out.
Yeah.
Other games like Cyberpunk is a very notorious example. That was delayed, I think, 3 years from its original planned release.
Yeah.
And that game was still unplayable and pretty much a complete wreck when it came out. So.
Yeah, like, man, when all is said and done in the history book, Cyberpunk 2077 will have changed the industry more than people thought.
Yeah, because I think with everybody rushing to refund Cyberpunk 2077,
yeah,
these developers kind of got, when okay, people aren't just going to brainlessly pre-order games anymore and be okay with patching it in to a playable state after the fact later, which is good, right? Because again, that's what, happens with video games nowadays for the most part. I don't think it's as culture changing as Byron's making it out to be. I think plenty of games are still releasing unfinished with plans to patch in, it into a finished state later. I think Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are like top tier examples of that.
Well, okay, that's a different situation though. Because Pokemon's
not really. Those games were pretty buggy and bad on release. They actually still kind of are.
Pokemon's a different beast in general, though.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about like a AAA game made by one of the richest studios in the industry. Like, I get Pokemon's its own kind of like monster because it's the world's largest.
Well, Game Freak aren't exactly the richest studio in the world.
No, but I mean, it's the richest franchise on the planet. I would say.
Yeah. But off of that topic, we have some other related news. We're getting a Starfield Direct on June 11th, which is the same day we're getting the Xbox Games Showcase. That's bad.
Now, this is fascinating because Microsoft has already made a statement that Xbox will not be at E3.
Oh, yeah.
2023.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, this week. Confirmed. Xbox will not be at E3. Lamau. They will be co-streaming.
Well, the funny thing is, they stated this some weeks back. It wasn't just announced this week that they won't be at E3.
Well, no, but like
they got known.
Well, yeah, but like Microsoft officially said, yeah, we're not going to be there. Like,
okay, well, let me get to my point here.
Yeah.
The point is, it's fascinating that they're like, no, we're not going to be at E3 or whatever. Yet they're holding a showcase like during the same time frame E3 is. It just goes to show that, okay, clearly it wasn't for a lack of announcements like with Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nintendo's kind of playing the angle. We don't have any monumental announcements we're going to make during, the early summer or late spring window.
Yeah, which, like, as we saw with that Direct, they, like, Tears of the Kingdom obviously still going to be an absolute gargantuan game. But that's
going to come out before E3.
But like, that's pretty much like, there are some smaller games obviously here and there, Pikmin 4, etc., but like,
well, yeah, but back on my original point, I just think it's fascinating that Microsoft is still going to hold their own showcase despite again, they're not affiliating themselves with like E3 in any way, shape, or form. I think E3 is going to restream it or whatever.
Yeah.
But the reason why this is so funny to me is it's not that, they didn't have the content to show off at E3 or whatever, because clearly they're doing their own separate event. They will.
Yeah.
It's the fact that Microsoft just straight does not want to be affiliated with E3 in any way, shape, or form.
True.
That does not bode well for E3, because if you had made the argument like with Nintendo, they felt like they didn't have the stuff they were going to show off at E3. Like they didn't have the amount of content they would like to have. And sure, it's just like, okay, well, whatever. It's just a dead year. Yeah, it's the fact that Microsoft has it, and they're choosing not to do it anyway. To me, it's what's incredibly damning.
Well, yeah. Well, at least to be fair to Nintendo, first off, we still don't know if they're even going to do an event in the summer. They very well could.
That would be even funnier if they still did a June Direct.
That would be funny.
And then they're just like, nope, we just didn't want to be part of E3. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, but also for Microsoft, this is like the one time of year like we're guaranteed to get news from them.
Yeah.
But the one question I have for you, Slade, considering the Starfield delay, considering Forza Motorsport did not get a date at the recent Xbox Developer Direct, do you think, and considering like some of the other like games that they announced at last year's showcase don't have a release date within the 12-month window that they promised, do you think that promise, that like hard deadline comes back for this year's showcase?
No, I don't think they do it again, because it's not even just the first party games that are clearly being delayed out of that 1 year window, but it's also the fact that many third party games have also had announced release dates since then, and they don't fall before June of this year.
Yeah.
That overall, it kind of feels like a nitpicky thing, because I think they said within a year, but they probably actually meant the end of 2023 or whatever.
Yeah, like, easy solution, just say, hey, these are games that are probably going to be coming out within the next 12 to 18 months, or in the near future.
Yeah, but they said within the next year because that looks better when they're trying to advertise it to fans and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it just looks better on paper. But you know what? I get it. They clearly, probably did think it out, very thoroughly.
Yeah.
But the thing that sucks about it is that's also where they showed off Silksong.
Oh, of course you would bring
for
up
the first time in 3 or 4 years. And considering that game had no attention whatsoever in the longest time.
Yeah.
And then we're someone asked if this means Silksong's coming out within a year. And then Microsoft's account was like, did I stutter or something?
Yeah, did I stutter?
Got, Hollow Knight fans incredibly excited. And now we're like, okay, well, we still don't have any news since then.
Well, wait. I think it was in a Nintendo Direct afterwards, a few months after.
If it was, I don't recall.
There probably was a little.
Recall.
There probably was. It was probably the same trailer, just a few new gameplay snippets. That's about it.
Yeah, but regardless, the fact that we don't have a release date or anything at this point, I definitely don't expect Silksong to come out within the next 2 months, Byron. Call me crazy. But like you said, with the very stacked release window for Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy 16, and God knows how many other vendors.
It's gonna shadow drop in April.
There's no way. Don't get me wrong. I think it'll sell. It'll be successful no matter what.
Yeah.
But it would be more successful if it was latter half of the year.
Yeah.
Or hate saying this, even next year.
Oh God.
Yeah. We don't even know how far along the game is, or have a release date or literally anything. And we've had no substantial news since that.
Yeah.
Microsoft presents. So
yeah.
Overall, it just Hollow Knight fans, we're not feeling too good.
Of course, you were gonna bring a fucking.
Of course, I had to bring it up. It's probably the biggest announcement of the presents last year. Let's be real.
Yeah, but yeah, and also at least for me, if release dates are announced for Xbox, because they have been doing this for the past few years. They've had dates announced, but then it's been delayed. It's okay, if you see a date, it's is it gonna get delayed? I think this is the year Microsoft need to start getting the wheels turning, because they have the pieces in place to have a great next few years, but they need to start getting that wheel turning like now, like soon.
And that's what's concerning, because like going back onto Starfield for a minute, because they need this game to not only like hit it out of the park in terms of quality, but they also kind of need the game to come out pretty soon. So like,
yeah, to be fair, it more than likely will be. God forbid we get another delay.
Well, yeah, because here's the thing, like, because Microsoft, they acquired all these companies, but they haven't put out like real exclusive content for them yet and whatnot. Which I'm not a Microsoft fanboy by any means. I actually prefer video games are on multiple platforms, and we've discussed their acquisition of like Active Blizzard to death and all the issues they're having with that.
Yeah,
but like, people don't understand that Microsoft's actually, in terms of like their first party success, is a very precarious position, considering how bad Halo Infinite performed.
Yeah.
On top of like a lot of other things. So I want Starfield to be like a very good game.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing to me. The game has to be quality.
Yeah.
It can't be like broken or unplayable on release or anything like that. But there's a real chance that even with this delay, they might force it out anyway in like, December or whatever it's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm sorry, it's September 6th.
Yeah, September 6th.
Yeah, September 6th. Simply because they need the game to come out then, and not whether or not it's going to be ready. So, like,
but
fingers crossed, but I'm not optimistic.
But I guess Sunday, June 11th. I don't know exactly what time they're doing the showcase. We'll get that information as we are closer to the event, but more than likely that Sunday, we'll be here to give you the breakdown for the Xbox Games Showcase. And speaking of things that made people break down, but break down in a good way, we got one of the craziest announcements I think ever in Dragon Ball's Budokai Tenkaichi 4.
Yeah,
it's
so this
real.
came out of nowhere. I think it was the Dragon Ball's Finals, like World Tournament Finals or something like that.
Yeah, so it was revealed at the Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tournament Finals this past Sunday. So it just snuck under last week's news, but we got it for you this week, and yeah, it's real, it's official, it's a thing, it exists. Slade, your thoughts, since you've played the Tenkaichi series more than I have?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty fascinating, because I think this is a franchise that hasn't been around since the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, it's been.
I could be wrong. Maybe it was like a Tenkaichi 2 was a PS3, Xbox 360. Last one I played was Tenkaichi 2, so I actually missed out on 3. Long story short, it's an arena fighter. Not really my cup of tea. It's in the same vein as like anybody's played the Ultimate Ninja Storm series and stuff like that, but like way less polished because, older console, older platforms or whatever. I get that. To me, the characters always end up feeling incredibly samey, but I think in today's modern like day and age, they can obviously make a lot of changes to that, especially with the way like patch culture is, with like how teams actively try to balance fighting games now instead of just throwing them out there.
Yeah.
We live in a very different day and age, so Tenkaichi 4 could actually be very fascinating.
Yeah.
On that front, it's just interesting to see a franchise that hasn't been around for, I want to say, a decade and a half at this point. Kind of see its resurgence. And,
yeah, this shocked everybody that I knew.
It
that I
totally
linked
felt
to
like
this
it came out of
event.
nowhere.
Yeah. We don't have a release date. We don't have platforms. We can assume probably PS5, Xbox, Steam. So
upgraded Nintendo Switch model probably as well. Not even memeing. Not even memeing, by the way. I'm actually like half serious.
It's possible. I don't know, but yeah, we don't have any. If I had to guess, we are probably at least 2 years away from this.
Yeah, and at that point, we'll see what games will come out during that time frame that will make it to whatever this new model or console will be for Nintendo or not.
But yeah, I think we are a few years off from this game, but hey, kind of a crazy announcement to just drop. Like, hey, yeah, Tenkaichi 4, we're back. Bam.
And I mean, this is exciting stuff too for anybody who was a fan of the Budokai and the Tenkaichi games, because I think those were the most financially successful for Bandai Namco at the time.
Yeah, at the time, yeah, because Fighter Z obviously is an incredible success.
Yeah, and Fighter Z is also a really polished fighting game. I think I hate to say this about like fighting games that are based off of like shonen anime and whatnot. 99.9% of those are not suitable to be played like competitively.
Yeah.
Because of like they're just unpolished, they're clear low effort cash grabs or whatever. I think Budokai Tenkaichi 4 coming off of like fighter success and whatnot has the potential to change arena fighters forever. So like I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, in like a few years span, we're gonna have a new Tekken, a new Street Fighter, a new Dragon Ball, Budokai Tenkaichi, and a new Mortal Kombat. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's gonna be the next few years for fighting games are gonna be absolutely wild. We're seeing yet another resurgence, which is very exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's fucking.
Unfortunately, our next topic's gonna not be so exciting.
Not exciting, not successful. Let's talk about it, Slade. Let's talk about apparently our new favorite company to talk about, Square Goddamn Enix.
That's right. So, an outline of their quarterly results. Following. I want to say it was earlier this week.
It finally got released earlier.
Yeah, it got released to the public earlier this week, but it was held on February 3rd.
Yes.
Square Enix put out their numbers, and their titles for not just their AAA titles, but their AA titles have not been performing too hot as of late.
Absolutely. And whoo boy, wait until you get into this, until we get into this. So net sales declined year over year in the HD games sub-segment despite the release of such titles as Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Wait, that came out? Huh?
Hold on. Final Fantasy VII Reunion, it's not the same as the next one that's coming out. You're tripping.
Okay.
You're thinking of Retribution, homie.
Oh. Dragon Quest Treasures and Dragon Quest X, as earnings from new titles were lower than in the same period. Now, I'm gonna make a fucking point. I put this in our DM, Slade, to make this point. Square Enix went way too fucking ham, by the way.
Let's look at all the games that they released in the last quarter, because that's what you're about to bring up, right?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, this is in a 4-month period. So, Square Enix released Voice of Cards, The Beast of Burden for $30 on September 13th. Various Day Life for $29 on that same day, by the way. Diofield Chronicles for $60 on September 22nd. Star Ocean, The Divine Force for $60 on October 27th. Harvestella for $60 on November 4th. Tactics Ogre Reborn for $50 on November 11th, which I've actually heard that game was kind of a success. Valkyrie Elysium for $60 on November 22nd. Dragon Quest Treasures for $60 on December 9th. And Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion for $50 on December 23rd. What the fuck, Square?
Yeah, so obviously they didn't do a very good job of spacing out any of their titles for the most part. The vast majority of those titles are also being some form of an RPG, which kind of just oversaturates the market overall, which makes it hard for any of these titles to be remotely successful. But not only that, if we're being also on a Tactic Ogre Reborn and Harvestella, we're probably the only two like very quality titles on this list games like Star Ocean Divine Force, following the trend of the last, basically every Star Ocean game since Star Ocean 3 till the end of time, quite frankly, just pretty awful. And like, it's just something that's played that series for quite a long time. And, Final Fantasy VII, Crisis Core Reunion.
Yeah.
It's like to see a remake of the classic PSP title, come out this day and age. But I think they made a mistake by replacing all the voices for all the characters. I get they did it to make it match up with the Final Fantasy VII Remake series, but I think a lot of people were turned off just because Zack's voice actor specifically, quite frankly, it's just dog water. I hate to say it, but
like dog
a lot
water.
of people don't think of voice acting in general as like something that's like super duper important, but like it is.
I thought you were talking like dog water as in like how dog water of a human being he was, not how dog water his performance
dog water
was.
in terms of quality. No, I'm not attacking anybody's character. I'm just saying that like he did a piss poor job. I'm gonna say. But I'm sorry.
The point I'm going to make, maybe Square should have spaced these out a little bit, because to me, seeing that there were 9 separate of these games that they released, I'm like, they could probably just release one every like 4 months, and they have 3 years of games right there.
Well, I'm gonna like attack this from a different angle. I think that if they're gonna pack a bunch of games up to a single quarter like this, I think that's fine as long as there's diversity in the genre of games.
You know what? I guess that's also
90% of these are RPGs.
Yeah, that's true. I can agree with you on that.
Because at this point, I feel like a lot of these games probably straight up cannibalized each other.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, it remains to be seen whether or not Square Enix can kind of dig itself out of the hole it's found itself in lately.
Look, to be fair, it's just their HD segment. Like, they are being propped up by one game, Slade, and it's called Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh yeah, because we haven't even brought up the fact that Forspoken was a colossal failure on every front.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week, but
but not on this episode. But you're right. On a previous episode, we did.
The previous, but it's
right now Square Enix is banking on the success of Final Fantasy 16 now more than ever.
Yeah,
and
Dragon Quest 12.
Right now, from what I've seen, Dragon Quest 12, and right now from the sales I've been seeing of Octopath Traveler 2. While they are decent and would be considered a success by any means for any RPG or franchise, not quite living up to the sales of the first one. So take that as you will. But like I said, it just remains to be seen whether or not Square Enix can dig themselves out of the hole that they've buried themselves in.
Because I don't know how much longer they can milk the Final Fantasy XIV cow.
Honestly, I'm just gonna keep it like level with you. I think they just need more changes in like leadership or from up top.
Well,
because honestly, we've talked about this previously. I don't know if we've covered it on an episode, but considering that like you see a lot of inept decisions, like with the Tomb Raider being sold off to Embracer Studios.
Yeah, I think you mentioned
the Embracer Group.
Yeah,
and then Embracer Group flipped that for $1.5 billion to Amazon.
Yeah, well, we were talking about the new like head of Square Enix coming into power soon.
Yeah, I guess
you did mention that, but
like long story short, Square Enix is just not in a good place, and I think they need
like
some pretty drastic changes to get back in the right direction.
In my opinion, they would be in like they're about to get bought out territory if it wasn't for prior successes they've had and Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah, I think Final Fantasy XIV is actually carrying them super duper hard.
Yeah, and that game is a colossal success. Like, like you think games as a service, you ordinarily think of your Destiny 2s, your Apex Legends, your Fortnites. Final Fantasy XIV, that's always just a looming. Like, hey, I exist. I'm making shitloads of money.
Absolutely. So, the last tidbit of news we got on a more positive note, we got the release of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Wave 4 pass,
which
that
has so much to that. That's going to be a whole separate thing that we're going to cover.
We're actually going to do another episode on that. I don't know if we plan to release it on the same day as this episode or not.
It will probably release shortly. Maybe not the same day. It'll probably be going up on Monday when this goes live. But
yeah, but definitely look forward to that. So that's everything we have for this week. This has been Slade.
And this has been Byron, and we will see you all for not only our thoughts on Wave 4 of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass, but the gaming news, because like the snow in my area, it just won't stop. Hope y'all have a good day, good night, and goodbye.